defending yourself. Stop. It's the fastest way to look. Machiavelli would laugh at you. When someone attacks you, what's your instinct? Explain. Defend. That's a trap. Defending yourself doesn't make you look innocent, it makes you look guilty. Machiavelli, the original power hacker, knew this centuries ago. The moment you start explaining, you hand over control. In this video, I'll show you why defending yourself destroys your power and what to do instead, so people shut up and respect you. Imagine this. Someone calls you out, at work, in a group chat, maybe even at Thanksgiving dinner. Your instinct, defend yourself, you fire up the engines. That's not true. Here's what really happened, and in that moment, congratulations. Just lost. Not the argument. Something worse. Your power. See? Defending yourself feels safe. It feels like you're clearing your name. But in reality, you just told everyone. Your opinion matters so much. I had to stop everything and justify myself. That's not strength. That's weakness in a tuxedo. Psychology 101. When you defend, you react. And reacting means you're not leading anymore, you're following someone else's script. You've handed them the remote control to your reputation. And here's the kicker. People don't even believe your defense. Nobody walks away saying, wow, that explanation was airtight. Nope, they think, he cared enough to explain. Maybe he is guilty. In court, who explains? The defendant. Who sits silently in power? The judge. Which one do you want to be? Let's get real. When you defend, you sound like that friend who says, I swear, I'm not drunk. Bruh, if you weren't drunk, you wouldn't need to say it. Same logic here. The louder you insist, the weaker you look. Take politics. When a leader spends half a press conference clarifying, what do we think? Strong. Nope, panicked. And panic smells like blood. Now, let's make it personal. Last time someone accused you of being lazy or fake, did explaining make you look powerful? Or did it make you feel like you were applying for their approval like a job interview? That's why Machiavelli, the original master of ruthless truth, said, never defend. Ever. Because defending is surrender. It turns kings into peasants and bosses into babysitters. You want real power? Stop begging for validation with your words. Because every excuse is like handing out free coupons for disrespect. You don't need to explain your worth, you show it, silently, like a lion that doesn't roar unless it's hunting. Here's what Machiavelli figured out centuries ago. The person who explains is never in charge. Ever. Think about the people you respect most. Do they stop and give TED Talks every time someone questions them? No. They act like their decisions are carved into stone tablets. Machiavelli's rule was simple. Power isn't explained, it's displayed. The more you explain, the more fragile you look. Why? Because explanations live in the world of doubt, and power hates doubt. Picture a king in the Renaissance. Do you think he sat down with his subjects saying, okay guys, let me clarify my tax increase? No. He raised taxes, then went hunting. Meanwhile, the peasants wrote sad songs. That's power. Fast forward to today. Imagine your boss walks into a meeting and says, we're changing strategy, no explanation. Number 15 slide PowerPoint. Just a statement. What happens? Everyone takes notes. Now imagine the same boss panicking, explaining for 20 minutes why the decision makes sense. Suddenly, people smell weakness. They ask questions. They challenge him. That's the price of explaining. Here's the magic. Silence and confidence beat words every single time. When someone questions you, you don't owe them an essay. Because the moment you start defending, you've admitted their opinion matters more than your authority. So what's the Machiavellian move? Control the narrative. When accused, don't fight the frame, change it. One says, you're wrong. You respond, interesting. Why do you think that? Boomed up. Now they re-explaining themselves while you sit there like a modern-day prince sipping your oat milk latte. Power isn't loud. Power is calm. It's making people doubt themselves without saying a word. And the second you stop explaining, they start wondering, what does he know that I don't? That's not defense, that's dominance. Asterisk. Let's bring this to 2025, where everyone is a public figure, even your neighbor with 17 followers on Instagram. Today's battlefield isn't a royal court, it's a comment section. And guess what? The same rule applies. Never defend. Someone drags you online. Most people write an essay defending themselves, thinking it'll make them look smart. Newsflash, it doesn't. It makes you look triggered. And the internet loves nothing more than free drama. Every word you type is like throwing meat into a shark tank. Trolls don't read your defense. They screenshot it, share it, and roast you for fun. Want proof? Scroll through any celebrity apology thread. Do people forgive them after they explain? No. They say, look at this pathetic backpedal. Defending yourself on social media is like mud wrestling. A pig, you both get dirty, but the pig enjoys it. Now, let's talk office life. Someone hints you messed up a project. Your heart says, defend now or die. Don't. Because the minute you start justifying, you plant a seed. Maybe you're guilty. A Machiavellian move. Flip it. Instead of explaining, calmly ask, what makes you think that? 9 times out of 10, they'll start stuttering because their little accusation had no legs. And in relationships, oh, defending is a trap disguised as therapy. Ever heard this one? If you really loved me, you'd explain. Don't fall for it. Over-explaining turns passion into a courtroom drama. The more you defend, the less mysterious you become, and mystery is power. Here's the truth: in a world obsessed with oversharing, restraint is rebellion. When you refuse to defend yourself, you're saying, I don't need your approval to breathe. That confidence, unstoppable. Asterisk. Alright, now you know, defending yourself is weakness in a fancy outfit. But you can't just stand there like a frozen turkey, right? Wrong. The most dangerous move in power games often looks like nothing, stillness, silence. Because silence isn't empty, it's intimidating. But let's make this practical. Here's your Machiavellian survival kit. Step 1. Master the pause. When someone throws shade at you, your first instinct is to defend, resist, take it to second pause. Do you know how long that feels to them? Like an eternity. That pause screams, I'm not even slightly bothered. It's psychological warfare. They wanted a reaction, you just gave them a black hole. Why does this work? Because humans hate silence. It makes them squirm. They start filling the gap with nervous chatter, which usually exposes their weak argument. Meanwhile, you sip your coffee like a Renaissance prince who just taxed a village for fun? Step 2. Own the frame. Power isn't about words. It's about who controls the energy in the room. Slow your speech. Keep your tone even. Posture relaxed, like you've got shares in oxygen. If you look calm while they're flailing, you've already won. Because frantic energy looks guilty, and calmness looks like authority. Pro tip: before you answer, take a breath. Tilt your head slightly, and smile. Not the friendly smile though. I know something: you don't smile. That expression alone will make 90% of people back off. Step 3. Redirect like a pro. Instead of defending, attackers expect a fight. Give them philosophy. Interesting point. Why do you think that? I see where you're coming from. Sounds harmless, right? Wrong. That line just put them on the hot seat. They now have to explain themselves. Meanwhile, you sit there looking like Machiavelli reincarnated, wondering how people still fall for this trick after 500 years. Step 4. Use ambiguity as armor. Direct explanations are born in, dangerous. Mystery is your shield. Try these power lines. I don't explain myself. People believe what they want. Think what you like. You're free to have your opinion. Notice something. Every one of these shuts the door on debate without sounding defensive. It sends a message. Your approval isn't the currency I trade in. Step 5. Practice controlled disengagement. Sometimes the best move is the exit. If someone's fishing for a fight, don't take the bait. Laugh lightly. Change the subject or walk away like you've got better empires to build. Because here's a secret. When you don't fight for their attention, you become magnetic. Nothing is sexier than someone who doesn't need the last word. Here's the truth bomb. Defending yourself feels safe, but safe is weak. The moment you stop explaining, the power balance flips. Why isn't he reacting? That's mystery. That's dominance. People start wondering, what does he know? And once you taste that silence power combo, defending will feel like begging for scraps. So next time someone comes for you, remember, you can fight or you can own. Machiavelli would tell you to own. So next time someone comes at you, remember, defending yourself feels safe, but safe is weak. Strong people don't explain. They act, they control the story, and they never, ever beg for approval. Want more of these Machiavellian rules that flip the script? Then don't just sit there, check out the next video. Because if you think not, defending yourself is powerful. Wait until you learn the trick that makes people obsess over you without saying a word.